that's okay. I'm sorry. I forgot. Senator Cortez Masto, that was very bad. You're up to bat. Thank you.
Well, as chairman, I respect your position, so thank you. First of all, congratulations. Congratulations on your nominations. Welcome to the family members that are here. It's an exciting time. Thank you so much. Let me start with you, Mr. Garrish. I'm sure you're not surprised. I'm from Nevada. And this is a question I ask everyone from the Department of Energy, starting with Secretary Chris Wright, who provided the following QFR response during his nomination process. He said, "The people of Nevada are not in favor of Yucca Mountain, and thus President Trump and I do not support Yucca Mountain as a waste repository." My question to you is, do you agree with this statement?
Yes.
Thank you. If confirmed, will you maintain efforts to establish a consent-based repository site selection process?
I would like to speak to that, if I may.
Please.
I have been concerned over the word consent-based. I would prefer something that sounds more like collaborative. In other words, I would like to collaborate with states, not the idea of consent suggests that you're doing something to the states that you don't want them, that they may not want. I would prefer to work collaboratively with the states and determine what states might be interested in this potential opportunity and whether there are things that could be added to it and benefits. And that is a process that we could enter over a period of time. And so I would propose initially to go with a system that would be more collaborative than consent-based.
Can I ask then if there is a consent-based legislation and the consent is really taking into consideration whether the states, including Nevada and the stakeholders, agree to any nuclear waste being sited in their state, you would take that into consideration and would not force it upon them if they did not agree to it?
Generally, I guess my belief is that if the state is not interested, then the collaborative process would probably terminate.
Okay. And so that law and legislation, when we talk about consent-based and every state being treated equally, that should include the state of Nevada?
Well, the legislation that I think that you're referring to, there is no administrative position on it at this time. So I'm not in a position to say one way or the other.
Thus, the superseding legislation to allow all states to be treated equally, including the state of Nevada. You would support that if there was superseding legislation?
Well, I'm not in a position today to tell you legislatively, to give you a position on behalf of the administration.
So let me just say, previously the Secretary has said he would support it. So I'm a little confused why you wouldn't, but we can have further conversation about this. I am concerned about your position, however, but I need to get on to some other questions here. But let's have further conversation.
I understand that we are scheduling a meeting, hopefully, that we can talk about this and the collaborative approach. And generally, your suggestions, I'm very interested. And I think as in terms of entering this position, if confirmed, I would really like to get your views as one of the first people I talk to on this.
Good. I look forward to the conversation. Dr. Travnik, bless you. Dr. Travnik, you talked about the Colorado River. Thank you very much. This is a priority for all of the basin states along the Colorado River. We know that we have deadlines coming up. The guidelines for future water allocations expire in 2027. There's negotiations going on right now. The hope is that the basin states will come together and agree to the guidelines and how they're going to manage the Colorado River. My question to you is, if confirmed, how will you prioritize this process to ensure that the basin can reach that necessary consensus and avoid litigation before time runs out?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. Yes, as discussed earlier, Colorado River is going to be front and center. If confirmed, it'll be one of my top priorities to hit the ground running on right away. We know that we've got to work with the 7 basin states. It needs to be consensus-driven, state-led. We don't want this to be decided by a judge. So it's going to be my top priority.
And I look forward to working with you. I know all of the basin states, we do as well. One final question, let me ask you, because this came to my attention. Just recently, talking with my electric co-ops who are concerned about hydropower. from the dam, Hoover Dam, as well as Glen Canyon Dam. But let me just talk a little bit about Hoover Dam. In Congress, we previously made significant investments through the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law and Inflation Reduction Act to improve water infrastructure and to mitigate drought conditions along the river, and you talked a little bit about that. Unfortunately, many of those funds are currently halted. Additionally, Colorado River contract customers have been working with the Bureau of Reclamation to receive some of those bipartisan infrastructure law funds to install wide head turbines that can operate at low levels and continue to generate the hydropower that my companies and Nevadans need. If these turbines are not installed and production generation drops due to the low water level that has been set by the Bureau of Reclamation, customers in Nevada will be forced to replace these hydropower resources with more expensive power, impacting power prices for rural communities in Nevada. And so my question to you is, can you commit to me to work to release those funds that were allocated by Congress in the bipartisan infrastructure law, the Inflation Reduction Act, that addresses those needs, specifically those projects that we need along the Colorado River? Would you commit to working with me to release those funds?
Senator, thank you for the question. So as it relates to hydropower, right, we know that reclamation is the second largest producer of hydropower. It's extremely important. It's extremely important to have those low costs related to the energy production as well. So as we look at those different funds, appreciate the overview related to what those funds have been sitting and supposed to go towards. So we've committed to looking into that, just to understand more of what it is and how that could help.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cortez Masto. Ms. Byer, let's start with you. We've got about 700